Hello Year 2, how are you? And welcome to today's reading lesson. Now today we're going to be carrying on reading the chapter that we started last lesson, which was chapter 10, called Boggis's Chicken House number 1. Now the reading skill that we're going to be looking at today is vocabulary. So I know every lesson when we're reading the text, we stop at certain words and we look at the words around it to try and work out its meaning. But today we are also going to be picking out words and phrases from the text to help us understand the text, to help us understand the meaning of the text. Now today, again, we have our friend with us, Vocabulary Victor. Now, can you remember some of the questions that Vocabulary Victor might ask us? Well, yes, Vocabulary Victor might ask us what a word tells us about something. So what does this word tell us about this person? Or what does this word tell us about the weather? He might also ask us which word did the author use to describe something. So you'd be looking through the text, trying to find a word to describe something, and we'd probably be looking for an adjective, wouldn't we? And then he might also ask us to find a synonym for a word. So that synonym could be in the text, or he might give us a word in the text and we need to think of a synonym for that word to make sure we really understand what it means. Now, before we move on to vocabulary today, I would like to see what we can remember from last lesson, so from the start of chapter 10. So we have 3 questions here. Why did Mr. Fox not tell the small foxes where they were going? What did they find above their heads? And what happened when they pushed up one of the floorboards? So if you need to use the pages that I sent you last lesson, that is completely fine. But if you can do these from memory, that's fantastic. Okay, so pause the video now and have a go at answering these questions. Okay, Year 2, so let's go through the answers together. Well, number 1, why did Mr. Fox not tell the small foxes where they were going? Because they just left their house, hadn't they, without Mrs. Fox, and the small foxes and Mr. Fox were going on a little adventure. But Mr. Fox wasn't quite sure that he was going to end up where he wanted to. So therefore, Mr. Fox didn't tell the small foxes where they were going because he didn't want to raise their hopes. He didn't want to get them excited because they might not end up where they wanted to be. Then we have number 2, what did they find above their heads? Well, remember when they were in the tunnel, they felt something above their heads, and what was it? Well, it was something hard, wasn't it? And what did they discover it was after they'd examined it a little bit? Well, yes, they found out that it was some floorboards, wasn't it? So therefore, they found something hard above their heads, and after examining it, they discovered they were wooden planks. Okay, they were floorboards, weren't they? So they knew that they were underneath a house. Now, what happened when they pushed up one of the floorboards? Okay, so Mr. Fox pushed it up, and what happened straight away? Well, yes, when they pushed up one of the floorboards, the board creaked most terribly, and they ducked down waiting for something terrible to happen because they thought somebody might catch them in the act. Okay, so well done if you got those answers right. That's fantastic. Now let's move on to our part of the chapter for today. So we left the chapter at page 39. So you need to be on page 40, which I have sent you on your resource, Year 2 reading, 25th of February, resource 1. Okay, so if you need that in front of you, that's fine if you want to follow it, but if you just want to listen for now, that is also fine. So, I've done it, he yelled. I've done it first time. I've done it. I've done it. He pulled himself up through the gap in the floor and started prancing and dancing with joy. Come on up, he sang out. What a sight for a hungry fox. Hallelujah, hooray, hooray. The 4 small foxes scrambled out of the tunnel, and what a fantastic sight it was that now met their eyes. They were in a huge shed, and the whole place was teeming with chickens. There were white chickens and brown chickens and black chickens by the thousand. Okay, so here it tells us that the place was teeming with chickens. Well, after it tells us that, it says that there were white chickens and brown chickens and black chickens, and it says they were by the thousand. So do you think there were a lot of chickens? Well, yes, there were lots of different colours. There were white, brown and black, and they were by the thousand, so there were thousands of them. So therefore, what do we think teeming means if a place is teeming? Well, it means that it contains an extremely large number of something. So in the book, the shed contains an extremely large number of chickens, doesn't it? It has chickens by the thousand. So there we go. That's what our verb team means, okay, to team with something. And it has one syllable. Would you like to clap it with me? 3, 2, 1, team. Okay. Now, some synonyms of this word. Well, to be full of. There's a synonym, because the shed was full of all of these chickens. To be overflowing with, okay, because there was no more room for anything else because there were so many chickens. We can have be overrun by. So if something's overrun by something, there's so many of them, nothing else can get in. So it is overrun by chickens. To be brimming with, and to be crowded with. Okay, so there's lots of different synonyms that you could use for the verb team. And remember, it means to contain an extremely large number of something. So in the book, as I said, it's talking about the number of chickens in the shed. But you can also, for example, say the rivers teem with fish. So the rivers are full of fish. They're overflowing with fish. They're overrun by fish because there's so many fish in the river. Okay, so let's carry on reading now we know what the word team means. Boggis's chicken house number 1, cried Mr. Fox. It's exactly what I was aiming at. I hit it slap in the middle, first time. Isn't that fantastic? And, if I may say so, rather clever. The small foxes went wild with excitement. They started running around in all directions, chasing the stupid chickens. Wait, ordered Mr. Fox. Don't lose your heads. Stand back. Calm down. Let's do this properly. First of all, everyone can have a drink of water. They all ran over to the chicken's drinking trough and lapped up the lovely cool water. Then Mr. Fox chose 3 of the plumpest hens, and with a clever flick of his jaw, he killed them instantly. Now here it says that they all ran over to the chicken's drinking trough and lapped up the lovely cool water. Now we know that they have been trapped in their house, haven't they? Because the farmers have been surrounding their house. So therefore they haven't had anything to eat and they haven't had anything to drink. So do we think they might be thirsty and be enjoying this water? Because that might give us a clue to what the verb lap up means. Well, yes, they are enjoying this water because the verb lap up means to enjoy something and to be keen to get more of it because they were so thirsty that they wanted more and more water. So they lapped it up, okay? They lapped up their drink. Now, some synonyms for this use of the word lap, because lap up something can be used in lots of different contexts, but in this context in the book it's being used to describe how they were drinking. So a synonym for lapping up when you're drinking would be to guzzle. If you guzzle your drink down, you drink it really, really fast and you'll enjoy it and you're keen to have more of it, okay? You want another drink. But you can also lap up, for example, some compliments. So if somebody's saying something really nice about you and you're enjoying it, you know, you're keen to get more. So you're really enjoying the fact that they're saying nice things about you. So they lapped up the compliments. But as I said, in this story, they are lapping up the lovely cool water because they are so thirsty because they've been trapped in their home. Okay, let's carry on reading. Back to the tunnel, he ordered. Come on. No fooling around. The quicker you move, the quicker you shall have something to eat.